Most men today are mentally weak, not physically weak, mentally weak. Controlled by comfort, controlled by distraction, controlled by impulse, and the worst part is, they don't even realize it. Every day they wake up exhausted, unfocused, emotionally undisciplined, addicted to entertainment, scrolling endlessly through things they don't even care about, escaping responsibility every chance they get. And as slowly, their minds become softer, their attention becomes weaker, their discipline disappears, until one day they can no longer control themselves at all. That's why so many men feel lost now, not because they lack potential, but because modern life has trained them to become passive. Weak men are not created overnight. They are programmed slowly, through comfort, through distraction, through endless stimulation. And most men never notice it happening because weakness today feels normal. Being distracted all the time feels normal. Having no control over your attention feels normal. Living without discipline feels normal. But normal does not mean healthy. And the longer a man lives this way, the harder it becomes to escape it. Weakness is not something that appears overnight. No man wakes up one morning and suddenly becomes weak. It happens slowly, quietly, through small habits repeated every single day. Avoiding discomfort, escaping responsibility, choosing entertainment over discipline, comfort over growth, pleasure over purpose. And at first, it doesn't seem dangerous because modern weakness feels normal. Scrolling for hours feels normal. Being distracted all the time feels normal. Having no control over your attention feels normal. But that's exactly the problem. Most men have become so comfortable living without discipline that they no longer realize what they've lost. Their focus is weaker. Their minds are weaker. Their ability to handle pressure is weaker. And eventually, their presence becomes weak too. People can feel it. A man who cannot control himself speaks differently, walks differently, acts differently. There is hesitation in everything he does. He looks for approval. He avoids conflict. He backs away from pressure. And the world responds to that immediately. Because whether people admit it or not, strength changes the way the world treats you. Not just physical strength, mental strength, emotional control, discipline, the ability to remain calm under pressure, the ability to keep going when life becomes uncomfortable. Weak men search for escape. Strong men adapt. And over time, that difference changes everything about a man's life. Modern men are addicted to comfort, and most of them don't even realize it. Every inconvenience feels unbearable. Every challenge feels exhausting. Every difficult moment becomes a reason to quit because they have trained themselves to avoid pressure at all costs. The moment life becomes uncomfortable, they escape into distractions, into entertainment, into excuses, and little by little, their minds become weaker, not because they were born weak, but because comfort removed every reason to become strong. That's why so many men today feel lost. They have no resistance, no discipline, no emotional control. The smallest amount of pressure breaks their focus. The smallest amount of pain destroys their consistency. And eventually, they stop believing in themselves completely because deep down, they know they cannot trust themselves under pressure. And that destroys confidence faster than failure ever could. A man who cannot trust himself becomes hesitant, indecisive, passive. He waits too long, thinks too much, acts too little, And life punishes that kind of man brutally, not always with violence, but with invisibility. People stop listening to him. Opportunities stop coming to him. Respect slowly disappears around him, because weakness changes the energy a man carries. You can see it in his posture, in his eyes, in the way he reacts to stress. And the world notices that immediately, even when nobody says a word. The world reacts differently to strong men, not because life is fair, but because a strength changes presence. A disciplined man walks into a room differently. He speaks with a certainty. He stays calm under pressure. He does not panic when life becomes difficult. And people feel that immediately, without words, without explanations, because a strength communicates itself silently. The problem is that most men are trying to be respected without becoming respectable. They want confidence without discipline, results without sacrifice, a status without a struggle. But the world doesn't reward potential, it rewards proof. Proof that you can endure pressure. Proof that you can control yourself. Proof that you can stay focused while everyone else collapses into distraction. That's why weak men keep feeling invisible, not because nobody sees them, but because they have built nothing inside themselves that commands attention. No control, no stability, no discipline. And eventually, their lives begin reflecting that weakness. Missed opportunities, broken consistency, constant self-doubt. Because when a man avoids discomfort long enough, he slowly loses his edge. And once that edge disappears, life becomes harder in every direction. People trust you less, respect you less, value you less. Not because the world is evil, but because the strength has always mattered, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And men who refuse to develop strength eventually become controlled by life itself. But strength can be rebuilt. That's the part most men forget. No matter how distracted you've become, no matter how weak you feel right now, your mind can change again, but only if you stop feeding the habits destroying you. Because discipline is not something you're born with. It is trained, built through repetition, built through resistance, built every single time you choose discomfort instead of escape. And at first, it feels terrible. Your mind fights back immediately. It looks for excuses, for comfort, for distraction, because weakness has become familiar, and familiar things feel safe, even when they are destroying you. That's why rebuilding yourself feels unnatural in the beginning. Waking up early feels difficult. Focusing feels painful. Consistency feels exhausting. Not because you are incapable, but because your mind has been trained to avoid resistance for too long. And the only way to change that is to stop negotiating with weakness, to stop waiting for motivation, to stop asking your emotions for permission. Strong men do not act based on mood. They act based on standards. They do what must be done even when they don't feel like doing it. And over time, that changes a man completely. His posture changes. His confidence changes. His energy changes. Because discipline creates something weakness never can: self-respect. A disciplined man becomes different over time, not louder, not arrogant, not obsessed with proving himself, just harder to break. Because once a man learns to control himself, life loses much of its power over him. Distractions stop controlling him. Pressure stops overwhelming him. Temporary emotions stop deciding his actions. And that changes the way he moves through the world. He becomes calmer, more focused, more intentional, while everyone else reacts emotionally to every problem. He stays grounded. That's why true strength is silent. It does not need attention. It does not beg for validation. It does not constantly announce itself. Weak men talk about discipline. Strong men live it quietly, every day, in small decisions nobody sees. Waking up when they don't feel like it. Working when motivation disappears. Remaining calm when life becomes chaotic. And eventually, those small actions become identity. Discipline is no longer something they force. It becomes who they are. That's when a man becomes dangerous, not dangerous because he is violent, but dangerous because he cannot be controlled easily anymore. Comfort no longer owns him. Fear no longer stops him. Distraction no longer weakens him. And once a man reaches that point, people feel it immediately, because real strength changes presence, even in silence. Most men will continue living the same way forever. Distracted, comfortable, mentally weak, always waiting for the perfect moment to finally change their lives, but that moment never comes. Because change does not begin with motivation, it begins with responsibility. The responsibility to stop lying to yourself, to stop blaming the world, to stop escaping discomfort every time life becomes difficult. Because weakness grows in avoidance, and the strength grows in resistance. Every difficult moment you face willingly builds something inside you. Every distraction you resist makes your mind stronger. Every excuse you ignore moves you further away from weakness. And slowly, the man you used to be begins to disappear, not because life became easier, but because you became stronger. That is the difference. Strong men are not free from pressure. They simply refuse to collapse under it. And in a world filled with distracted and emotionally undisciplined men, that alone makes you different. Because most men today are controlled by comfort, controlled by emotion, controlled by impulse. But the few men who learn to control themselves become impossible to ignore. And once you understand that, you stop chasing comfort forever.